2 goes into 16 how many times? 8. So you can divide. Dividing is another way. Anybody else think of another way? They don't say one. Anybody else? Jack?
Guess.
You could guess, but we're trying to make educated responses here. You can guess on everything, but how can you be for certain? How do you know for sure if a number is prime or composite?
Do the multiples up to.
Okay, we'll get to that next. Let me show you guys another quick technique real quick. We'll use the number 16 again. You can use manipulative blocks. I'm sure you guys have had many experiences working with these things, right? 6, 10, 12. And we'll get 16 because we're working with the number 16. And how can we tell? Well, we all know that what? If you do 1 times a number, that every number has those 2 factors in there, right? You can multiply 1 times any number to get that number, right? So then we would be making a long line that looks similar to what? What kind of concept did we do last week? Do you guys remember? Where you guys created things? Arrays. So in this array, it tells you 1 times 16 because we have a completed rectangle, right? How do we find out if the number 2 can multiply in here? How would I create an array using the multiplication of 2?
You would use like 2 lines.
We would put 2 cubes in a row, and then just start moving them over little by little, right? To see if the number 2 will fit evenly, right? So if it comes out, which it does, it should form a nice, solid rectangle, right? You guys see that? So we can see then that 2 multiplies by 8 and equals 16. How about if we want to see the number 3? How would I see if the number 3 multiplies? 3. And then we just start filling them in, right? We just start bringing some over. Well, not very good at this right now. Okay, so do we have a rectangle? Can you guys see it? Do we have a rectangle?
No.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you think we have a rectangle. Raise your hand if you don't think we have a rectangle. How many sides does a rectangle have?
4.
How many sides does this shape have? Actually, it's got a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. We have this little part sticking out, which is really our remainder. It shows us that we can't multiply by 3. So this method, using arrays, is... Yeah, but it has to be a complete rectangle without anything left over. Because then we have lots of shapes that you can take parts of it and be a rectangle, right? So we're using multiplication in that method, right? Or arrays and multiplication. And then there's one last method we can use to find prime numbers, which June actually mentioned a little while ago. Using what?
Multiplication table.
Multiplication tables, or what we did the other day. We'll kind of go over it real quickly. Again, number 1. Is number 1 prime or composite?
Special.
Special. Put my little star here, right, for our special number 1. First prime number is the number, so I'm going to circle number 2. It's my first prime number. And I'm going to go through and start crossing out number 4, number 6. Why am I crossing these numbers out?
Because they're all multiples of 2.
They're all what? I heard it. Who said it?
Multiples of 2. Me.
They're all multiples of 2. So if they're multiples of 2, are they prime numbers?
No.
Why can't they be prime numbers?
Because they're multiples of 2.
That's why can't it be prime numbers?
Because they're composite numbers, and they have more than 2.
Because
Because you know right away.
they always multiply by 2.
You can divide it by 2, you can multiply the number by 2. Whatever method you choose to do to find prime numbers, you'll know that right away. So you just go through and just start crossing out all the multiples of 2, right? We could just go straight down, but we're not going to do the whole thing, so that's why I'm not going to do that.
Put a line down.
You could do that. I'm just going to stop right there. What's the next open number after 2? What's the next open number that's not crossed out? 3. Here's your next prime number. Okay? And we go through and we start crossing off the multiples of 3. Tell me what the multiples of 3 are.
3, 6, 9,
So we have to cross out the number 9 because it's not crossed out. Next one.
12,
It's crossed off.
15, 18, 21, 24, 4.
27, all right? Then move on to the next open number. What's the next available number?
5.
There's your next prime number. There's your next prime number, 5.
13.
And you would go through and start crossing off the multiples of 5 as well. Moving on to your next number, moving on to your next number. Yeah, I understand. You guys will get the picture once you start doing your activity. The activity for today, you're going to be working on, it looks like this. I'll show it to you guys on the envelope side. It's pretty simple. It's just like what we just were doing right now. You're going to start out. The directions tell you, number 1, it says use a black crayon to cross out the number 1 since it's neither prime nor composite. I don't want you guys to do that. I want you guys to pick a color that you feel is special and color in number 1. I picked orange. This orange is special to me. And the directions then tell you to do is to pick the next available number and circle it in red. It doesn't have to be in red, but whatever color you choose, just stick with that color to circle number. You circle the number 2 and use another color, preferably black. You can use your black pencil, black colored colored pencils, or black crayons. I don't want to see markers. Yeah? And you start blotting out the multiples of 2 until you get all the way to 100, and go back and circle the next available prime number and start crossing out those multiples until you get to 100 and return to 5. And you're going to do that until every number is either crossed out or circled. And once you do that, you're going to move to the very bottom of the sheet that has a little word bank. In case you haven't noticed, the numbers above in the chart all have a little letter, right? A little letter associated with each number. If you get to the end, you're going to start putting the letters in order. So you're going to put the first prime number and put its letter right here. The second prime number, the letter will go right there. There's a little hint at the very end, like this one says wavy. It's kind of a hint to what the word should be. If you guys found all of the prime numbers and you found them without skipping any of them, these words should make sense once you start plugging in the letters. Okay?